If you're a student or worker in Canada, this one is for you. So stop scrolling and listen carefully. With thousands of temporary resident status expiring this year, has never been more important to understand what maintained or implied status means. A lot of people call it implied status, but it's also called maintained status. To put very simply, maintained status means that if you apply to extend your study permit or your work permit or your visitor record before it expires and you remain in Canada while a decision is being made, you're allowed to stay legally until a decision is made on your application. So I'm going to elaborate on 4 scenarios to help you clarify things a little bit. If you applied as a worker, you can keep working under the same conditions you had before you applied. If you applied as a student, you can keep studying as well. But if you switch to a visitor record, then you must stop working or studying, even if your previous permit allowed you to do so. Scenario number 2 is, can you travel outside Canada while you are on a maintained status? If you leave Canada while you are on a maintained status, your maintained status ends immediately. You may be allowed to return as a visitor. However, you cannot resume work or study until your new permit has been issued. And so what happens if your application is refused or if it's withdrawn or rejected while you are on maintained status? Well, if your application was refused, your legal status ends the day the decision is made. You have 90 days to apply for restoration. If you withdrew your application, your status ends immediately. If your application is rejected for being incomplete, it's sort of as though you never applied in the first place. And so in that scenario, no status is maintained in the first place. And lastly, can you submit a second application during processing? You can by all means submit a second application while the first is being processed. But if the first is denied, the second only maintains your status if it was submitted while you had valid status. If your status already expired before you submitted again, you're not on maintained status and you must apply for restoration. I know that's a lot to take in, but 2 things you want to take away from this video is, number 1, make sure you apply to extend your status before the first one expires. And number 2, stay in Canada while you're waiting for a decision on your status extension. My name is Asara Izamo. I'm a licensed Canadian immigration consultant. If you need help with extending your work permit or study permit or visa record, feel free to send me an email, hello@gradlifecanada.ca.